your Etsy reinstatement template for a suspended Etsy account. Hey everybody, my name is Marcella and I have been helping online business sellers with their trademark, copyright, and online seller needs. In this video, we are going to be talking about your suspended Etsy account and how you can get it back with an Etsy suspension template. And here's what we're going to cover. Number one, should you be including certain terms or words or phrases to help you get your Etsy account reinstated with a template? Number two, is there a right time for you to submit your reinstatement appeal? Number three, is this Etsy appeal guaranteed to work? Listen, I am going to be completely open and transparent with you as I have been in past Etsy videos. Getting your Etsy account back, it seems, is very, very difficult. It's definitely an uphill battle. Etsy has ignored many appeals. It seems like they are using bots and only bots to work behind the scenes. So even if you email the legal department, even if you submit 20 appeals, there is no guarantee that this is going to be seen by a person. In the past, when we have submitted appeals, even from our office, some of them have been ignored or we haven't received a response. And so is this appeal guaranteed to work? Not always, but it is the last resort in order for you to try and get that account reinstated. So should you be thinking about spending money on a reinstatement? Well, if I was in your shoes and I was making bank on an Etsy account, or it was enough to sustain me or supplement my income, or, give me extra spending money, and I really thought it was worth it, then by all means, yes, I would invest in this Etsy reinstatement template or in our reinstatement services where I draft a customized appeal on your behalf. You see, it is very easy to sell to existing customers than it is to try to go out and gain new customers. So why do I even bring this up? Well, on Etsy, people recognize your store. More times than not, they are able to go back and look at who they purchased a specific product from. So if they already know they loved the product that you sent them because you wrapped it up in pretty packaging or you included a handmade note, they're more likely to go back to your account and say, I'm going to reorder from them. Their price was great, or even if the price was a little bit expensive, I know that I'm getting a product that works. I'm getting a product that I like, and I want to give them my business again. So you need to think about whether it is worth it for you to spend money on an Etsy reinstatement appeal or our Etsy reinstatement services, because as I said, it is easier to have these people coming back to your store, but it has to be open, of course. So if your Etsy account is closed, then how are repeat buyers going to come back to you? You're basically going to have disappeared off of the Etsy world, and they're not going to know where to find you unless you've been able to keep track of them somehow. So when your customers have purchased from you in the past, did you lead them to your Shopify store? Did you lead them to your e-commerce website? Even if you did that and they haven't purchased from the Shopify store or your other website, there is no guarantee that you will be able to secure their business again. So Etsy is basically your surefire way of making sure that they can come back to your store a second time, because that's where they purchased from. So for those of you that are wondering, is this Etsy reinstatement template even worth it? That's a question that you have to ask yourself. But is it worth it to you to have them as a repeat customer?
Number two,
do you have to have certain language in your Etsy appeal reinstatement in order to trigger a reinstatement of your Etsy account? Listen, there are no magic words and no magic phrases. I know that for Amazon reinstatements, lots of people recommend using certain words and certain terms so that you can trigger either the bots or the people working behind the scenes to get them to acknowledge that you have fully understood what you did wrong and what you will do right in the future. Using certain words or phrases for your Etsy reinstatement may make you think that, okay, if I use certain language, then for sure my account is going to be reinstated. And that is not necessarily the case. More and more, we are seeing that Etsy is relying on bots behind the scenes to look at your appeal and either trigger an automated response or not respond to you at all. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but that is what has been happening lately, and that is what I have been seeing. It is a huge disappointment to feel that there isn't even a person you can speak to or a person who will tell you what you did wrong. That way you can address that issue with specific terminology. Even if the specific terminology is not going to trigger an automatic reinstatement, it will trigger you to perhaps apologize and say, I violated the handmade policy, or I violated some other specific terms of service. But because Etsy doesn't send you any specifics, it is very hard to use certain terminology, even if you wanted to. So if you want to know whether the Etsy reinstatement template is bound to work in your situation, make sure you watch number 3, is there a right time to submit your Etsy suspension template? I have seen people respond right away in a matter of weeks, not more than 2 months. And I have also seen people who have waited up to a year to submit a response. Not necessarily because they wanted that to be the case, but they allowed themselves to move away from the platform and then revisited the Etsy account many months later, almost a year later. So has there been a difference in whether they could get their Etsy account reinstated? Honestly, I didn't really notice a difference. I think that as time goes on, you're going to see more and more use of bots or AI to respond to your all's appeals. So if I was in your situation, I would say it's more important to respond, within a couple of weeks max. So what does that mean? That means that you need to be able to gather as many potential reasons as to why Etsy could have suspended your account and formulate your best appeal or your best arguments for submitting an appeal with our Etsy suspension template. You see, in many cases, Etsy does not respond within a couple of hours. It might take them a few days, maybe even a week or so to respond. So is it important for you to feel like you have been thorough with your response and that you have addressed all possible issues for why your account could have been suspended? Well, yes. And so if you work with me directly, I will ask you a series of questions that will help me evaluate what your specific situation was and address the potential issues. But for those of you that want a more basic approach, we do offer the Etsy reinstatement template. Now, if you want to know whether this reinstatement template is a guarantee that you will get your Etsy account back, make sure to watch this video until the very end. But again, maybe Etsy sent you a couple of warning letters prior to suspending your account. So if you go back and you read those letters, you might be able to understand or assess or infer what the reasons are for why Etsy would have suspended your account. Bots make errors. We all know that. So does AI. So it's very important that you try to dig and read between the lines. And again, if that's something that you don't want to do, we can help you with that. Working through an Etsy reinstatement can be extremely frustrating because you might not get a response and you're busy trying to handle the logistics of having a small business. You might even be selling on other platforms. You might have another full-time job. So you don't want to be boggling your mind with, did I remember to submit a second appeal, a third appeal? Did I read all the warning letters? I need help from someone else. So that's where we come in. I want to make sure that you have somebody on your side who will read all of those warning letters in detail to understand the potential reasons why you could have gotten suspended on Etsy. So if you're someone that has gotten their Etsy account suspended as of a few days ago or weeks ago or even a year ago, please make sure to contact us so that we can help you out in the best way that we can. I know that dealing with Etsy can be extremely frustrating. You want your account back as soon as possible because time is money. And by now you probably have lost a lot of money since the Etsy suspension. And if you want to understand a little bit more about Etsy suspensions and what my experience has been in working with other sellers who have gotten their Etsy account suspended, make sure to check out that video right there because it's a great follow-up to this one. Dealing with Etsy is no joke, and it's only a matter of time before more and more sellers eventually get wiped off of this platform because someone could be selling the exact same thing as you, and not just one person, but 2 people, 3 people, hundreds of sellers selling the same thing you are, but for some reason your account was suspended. And that is totally unfair. And I detail that in this video as well, because it's a huge frustration and it's unfair, but I want you to feel motivated in trying to at least get your account back, because it's better to have tried than to live with the regret of what if I would have tried. So again, feel free to contact us if you want personalized services, but if you want the template, make sure to scroll down into the description below and you can secure the template and apply it to your situation. Don't forget to check out that video right there.